in control of every environment he is in. He knows how to please a woman. He must do, because they all want him. There's not a woman around that he can't have. So, if James Bond is choosing it, and he's all those wonderful things, then maybe I should give that a go too. Maybe it'll help me. He's confident, he's suave, he's sophisticated, he's also powerful and violent, yes.
Would that require a certain amount of cultural capital?
Yes,
to
it
know
would.
who James Bond is and
Would. And if you're doing this with a student in class, you would show clips of James Bond in action before you'd even show the ad. Otherwise, they wouldn't understand. This would mean absolutely nothing to them. Or you could ask them to bring someone from their culture who has the same sort of persona, you know, someone who's brave, courageous, handsome, muscular, capable, gets, you know, very, very popular with the women. So you can bring someone from their culture, because I think you'll find most cultures would have a figure like that. But yes, if I didn't know who James Bond was, I'm excluded from accessing that, and that's where equity comes into play, and that's why your task sheets are so important. You can't exclude anyone from understanding those instructions. So, 3 words, that's it. 3 words just there, and yet it conjures up a whole lot of meaning and value. This is valuing all of those character traits that I just rattled off for James Bond, and you would also be able to come up with some. I've probably missed some. So, I went straight for the words, because that's the way I'm trained, but you don't have to. You do have some words up here. Quantum of solace, 7. That's his number, isn't it? 7?
007.
007, thank you. 007, I knew something wasn't right about it. 007. You could actually do some research into 7 and why 7 might be that number.
magic.
There's got to be a reason. Apparently it's God's number. Number 7. That's his number. 6 is
The devil. 7th heaven.
Oh, yes, 7th Heaven. I love that show. So even that one number has potential impact. Again, it requires cultural capital though. But this is what you unpack. You encourage students to do some research. How hard is it to type into Google, is there any symbolic meaning behind 7? Because if it is because it's God's number, he's godlike. I just said he controls every environment he's in. He overcomes greatest obstacles. He's all-knowing. He works out complex plots, and he always conquers. So you could talk about the meaning of that 7. Quantum of solace. Solace? That's sibilance. Very soothing, denotes action. James Bond is a man of action. Solace. What are the connotations of solace? Comfort. You need Google. You need to say, well, why quantum? Unpack quantum. Can someone type into Google for me, define quantum? Tell me what it means. I know it's the name of one of his movies.
A discrete quantity of energy proportional in magnitude to the frequency of.
Okay,
Roy.
quantity of energy, there you go.
Also a required or allowed amount, especially an amount of money legally payable expenditures.
So, a required amount of solace. See how you're breaking it down? You're going to a definition of this, and you're breaking it down, you're making meaning out of it. If you don't do that, they're just 3 words that don't have an impact on you. Those 3 words without unpacking them, and that's why the Australian curriculum requires analysis, because what we're doing here is we're analysing, we're just breaking something apart. To bring it to life. That's what analysis does. So when you walk into class and you're saying we're going to analyse something, your students roll your eyeballs at you and say analyse brings things to life. It matters. It makes life meaningful, makes text meaningful. So already we've looked at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 words in an ad, and I reckon we've got probably 600 words even just there potentially. you've got the brand name. It's in the right-hand corner. Wonder why that might be. Apparently your eyes in an ad go like this. That's the way our eyes track. We have our main object right smack bang in the middle, and it's a very dominant object. It's taking up a large chunk of that particular ad. It's interesting that he's wearing a suit. So you would talk about the fact that the man is wearing a suit. You could talk about celebrity status of the male himself. Your ad may not necessarily have a celebrity, but if you do have a celebrity, which actually cements to this language here to create a more holistic impression on the audience. So we know he's James Bond. Look at him. Look at his gaze. You need to be able to describe it. What is his gaze? Give me some adjectives.
Piercing.
Piercing, great adjective.
Powerful.
Yes, this is not a timid, meek male. What else?
Seductive.
He has, and he kind of is. I mean, he just is. But you have to describe why. It's no fluke they've chosen him. He has sex appeal. His facial features are rugged. He's serious. He's not a joke. He's someone worth knowing, and he's someone worth emulating. And that's what ads do. They position you to value these qualities, to convince you that you can actually adopt some of these qualities, some of these aspects of this man. So you can adopt a particular persona. If you wear that watch, you're gonna. It's ridiculous when you break it down and you talk about it like that, but it absolutely works on our subconscious. Our brains are picking up all this stimulus all the time and reading a lot into it. Even the crease in his forehead, his mouth, they're all there, they're carefully placed. You look and you actually compare this to a female in an ad. Totally different. In fact, once upon a time, pretty much all ads with men in them were active. They were in their environment doing sport, something physical. All the women were passive, posed. They were in bedrooms, lying on skin-coloured sheets. I wonder why they're on skin-coloured sheets. This is the gaze. Those of you who do drama understand the gaze. You want to have a go? Want to go from talking about it?
Doesn't sound like something you should say anymore.
The gaze.
The gaze.
Oh. I never even thought of it like that at all.
Notice.
Have you heard of the gaze?
Anyone want to have a go at talking about it, just explaining what it might mean or the significance of it? Because you look at this. Gaze, gaze, gaze. She's not looking at the camera. Now that's interesting. She is, he's not. I think he's in a dominant position there. Even though she's drawing you in, she's going, oh, look at me. She's inviting you in to look at her and want to be her. He doesn't care about you. He's got this. It's just so interesting. And you can bring up perfume ad. It's the most incredible thing. And the woman often be standing there like that. Ad after ad after ad after ad. It's almost funny. What do women do on the red carpet? Celebrities? I can't do it. But there's a reason, because it conjures up success and control of your environment and look at me, I am awesome. So confidence, all those qualities that we all want to have. Of course we want to be confident. So they're acting on a very subtle level. Sometimes they're bludgeoning you, but we do become quite immune. So, very distinguished, suave, sophisticated. Can you just, anything to do with his hand being there? Sincerity, maybe? Isn't that what we do? trust me. Can't believe me. We do that, don't we? So even his gesture, and yet he's got the stern kind of thing on a man to be taken seriously because I'm genuine.
It's what they used to do. I mean, no, it's like the old
Like
thing
a
that men used to
gentleman
do
thing?
where
Yeah.
to show you're a gentleman is
Yeah.
you'd hold your hand on the inside of your jacket like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
It looks really weird, but you'll see it in old photographs or old movies when they do it right, like period dramas, is the men slide their hand just under their jacket like this.
And you can say to students, when you see something like that on an ad,
It's
just
my Downton Abbey coming.
you can just jump onto Google and say, is there some meaning behind a man putting their hand on their chest? There's so much stuff out there for us today. And the watch, of course, is larger than life. It's not covering space. It's not covering, I mean, we can see it on his wrist, that's really important. But the company wants to make sure you get a really good look at it, all its features. It's on its side, I don't know, what do we say about that? What meaning can we take from the fact that it's on its side?
It's like a crown.
Yeah, I suppose it is like a crown, because it's around like that, you sit it on there. So you could absolutely make that connotation. Princely, worthy of admiration, in control. Princes, you know, crowns, royalty, they're in control.
Looks like it's been discarded on a bedside table.
There you go. And actually, that's a strong connotation with their very choice of male. So you could put that together.
Just
Okay.
past 10 o'clock, who's in bed early?
Yeah, and even the time.
Yeah, okay.
Apparently all watch ads, the most common time for watch ads is 10 o'clock for like on the face.
And do we know why?
No, I just remember hearing that somewhere. It's
Yeah.
10 o'clock.
I mean,
it's
it's-
a name before you put a battery. Or like pull the thing out.
I googled that putting your hand inside your waistcoat like that, or further down even, but up here, it indicates leadership in a calm and firm manner.
That's perfect. How's that for analysis and bringing that one thing to life? And all that's doing is looking at the language and breaking up in that scaffold on that table, step by step, sequence by sequence. So that's our James Bond. That's going to work with a lot of guys. How is it representing that particular watch? It's positioning audiences to view that watch as,
Symbol of success.
yes, and sexuality, and gentlemanliness, and power over one's destiny. Because he does that, he controls everything that happens to him, like you come back to control. How is it representing men? Strong. Gentlemen. Strong yet gentlemanly. That's a powerful, appealing combination for women. Popular.
It's almost like domineering but in a gentlemanly way.
Yes, it's domineering but in an attractive, appealing way. A little bit, not too much, you know, trustworthy. Yeah. So that's with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and even that reference to 7, godlike, you know, God. The head of the pecking chain, you know, the hierarchy. A powerful. And the gaze. Very sexy, very serious. Looks intelligent too. He looks like a doer, doesn't he? And that's what happens if you wear this watch, apparently. So, these two are very similar. I've had Year 10 students analyse this ad many years ago. And it only worked on it. What's going to happen to you if you wear this aftershave or cologne or whatever it is?
Women throwing themselves at you.
Well, they are throwing themselves at you. Oh, why wouldn't you want that?
You'll be fleeing from them.
No, yes, exactly. Look, you become their pawn. Look how possessive the arms are. I mean, look how low those hands are. It's actually trapping the male. Look at the position of their heads, their faces. Lips are open, lips are open. Very suggestive. These women are after something. They're turned into primitive beings because of this particular cologne. You've got a little bit of light coming up here in the left-hand corner, so you're a star. You know, there's this idea of the light shining on you. All you have to do is wear this cologne. And they're not ugly women. They're young, very feminine, long hair, painted fingernails. They haven't got curlers in their hair and fat bulging out of jeans and a mid-rift. Totally different image if that was the case. They don't have rings in their noses and tattoos everywhere. So I'm pointing out what they're not to emphasise what they are. They're beautiful, they're glamorous, they're young, they're very attractive. Their lips are strongly painted for that seductive quality. And they know what they want. So this ad is using a representation of men and women and how they interact to make something very desirable. So women are represented as being unable to resist this cologne. Men are being represented as being seductive and sexy and a magnet to women when they wear this cologne. So there's interesting representations of both men and women here. In this case, the man is a passive recipient. He's being pursued, which is also interesting. He's young, one could say handsome. He's well dressed, he's in a suit, so is he. These ads came out at different times and you can see the similarities there. So obviously it works, it's a successful ad campaign. Slightly older, which is interesting.
Is that Eddie Redmayne?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
He just has a face like him.
Yeah.
Because it's
I was gonna say that's a weird ad for him to be in.
No, I don't think so.
yeah. But keep your eye. That's where I'm not good because I don't keep an eye on who celebrities are. So that's wasted on me. But
It's also black and white, so you could argue it's like old school Hollywood, plus the lights in the background, so it's like flashlights, paparazzi.
and you can do a lot with that. Deliberate choices. Nothing is there by chance. Here's again looking at the camera. They are not. Their gaze is set on their prey. I think the women do look predatory here, and here's their prey, and he's going to succumb to them, isn't he? That's kind of the message in the picture. So look at, we don't have one female, we've got three. And we've got, this seems to be a lot raunchier and louder and a little bit more,
He's got a bodyguard
yes.
trying to protect him from all these women.
The first one looks more dreamlike almost.
Yes. Yeah, that's smoother and
The
suave.
sirens.
Yes.
The sirens.
Luring the
Yes.
man.
It's got fewer things in the image, and maybe it's the way, the quality of the images as well, but it's less grainy. It looks more surreal.
It does. Interestingly, look at this. Apply this in both. And here you get an example of where you can compare ads. She's interesting. She's still pursuing. She's not as successful as these two, but she's not giving up.
She's singing.
His lips are parted as well. I think these two seem to be the most in control.
And they've also, she's in the background, like, the women are never ending, like, they're just constantly coming for you.
They've also got quite specific features, don't they?
Yeah, they could all be sisters.
Yes, and they've got, how would you describe their features in, is that their eyes are quite like a little bit more far apart than you. I've just
Yes, look at.
like they've got quite widely spaced eyes. It makes them look.
Inbred?
It makes them look a mix between childlike and exotic.
Yes.
That's because they use teenagers to do
Okay, that's fine.
And like Calvin Klein, they're selling to adults, but they're all teenagers.
Mm.
So they look amazing.
The
in
girl at the
bikinis
back
and stuff.
has a very small nose and quite widely spaced eyes, and she has that look of. Is it?
Intrigued.
Yeah, but also, I mean, just the way her facial features are. It's not. It's I've forgotten the words. Yeah, it's like beautiful, but not the norm.
She's
More like a
certainly-
Mila Kunis kind of look than a standard
So like,
Nicole Kidman kind of look.
And
Nothing
you know
is wrong
she's
with
beautiful,
Nicole
doesn't
like
it?
Latina.
Yeah, it makes her eyes look big and slightly exotic.
And look at their skin, it's quite a pimple inside.
So shiny.
And you can see they've got very finely arched eyebrows, nicely shaped, frames their faces, very symmetrical, great bone structure, all those things. What about this one?
You Bella.
A ballerina who also fights.
Is she? Oh, it's Bella, the Victoria's Secret model.
Oh, is that who she is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bella Hadid.
It's like playful but also strong because of the boxing. It's like this intense workout kind of. It needs strength and fitness.
It's like strong for a woman, but it's
Mm.
not what you would put up to show strength.
I thought maybe the
Okay.
watch was strong. I don't know.
I think it's trying to come across as strong, but the whole the biting
Yeah.
is kind of like that playful sexiness, but it's
Yeah.
not necessarily what we would find strong.
It's not a generalized strong, it's a woman strong, it's a feminine strong, sexy strong.
I look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dare we ever take sexiness out of a picture when a woman's
Yes.
being objectified?
It
It is. You look at her expression in her eyes. I think that's a really clear expression. She's saying, "Come on, I dare you. I've got what it takes. I'm confident. I can do this. I want to have a bit of fun, but I'm also strong." So the symbols. So you've got symbolism. Don't forget symbolism in ads. There are lots of symbolism throughout all these ads. The glove is symbolic of strength.
But then the colours and the tone itself, like it gives like a softness. So it's like you can be strong, but not too strong because you're still a female. So it's
Strong,
really
but
soft,
strong,
but
but
not
in a
too strong.
sexy kind of way.
Yeah.
Like it's strong, but it's making you more sexy in like a feminine, you know.
Yeah, it's just like she's not sweating, she's not messy, she hasn't been boxing, like it's still kind of like, oh look at me and work out.
And when I exercise, I look a fright.
Yeah.
My face is flushed,
Never
it's
looked
red,
bad.
and my hair's in
Yeah.
strings.
But like the way that I see it, because she's only got the one glove, and I know whenever I put on boxing gloves, I always use my mouth to put it up. So it's almost like she needs this accessory to be successful in what she's about to do. So she needs the watch as the accessory, and this time she needs to put on the glove to do whatever she's doing.
And that's a really interesting point because this hand
She's
is
only got
free of
one.
a glove.
Yeah.
Lots of skin
Yeah.
showing, just a shoestring, which is suggestive. And bedroom-like, really, I think. Beautifully tanned, she's got her teeth around the leather. Yeah, we could talk about that. That's what dogs do, don't they?
Put on boxing gloves.
Dogs, they gnaw on things, they chomp on bones, they chomp on leather, leather toys and things.
My cat does that.
So you could, if you really wanted to be highly critical of this ad, you probably could be. I don't walk around chomping on things like that.
You don't use your teeth to open things.
And it's all about the watch. Interestingly, the watch, she's not wearing the watch. She's She's wearing a brand name. So this is representing women as all those adjectives that this company is using those female characteristic traits of femininity, sexiness, confidence, playfulness, certainly an attitude, nakedness, to sell a particular product. If you buy this watch, this transformation, which we don't believe, but it does work. Sex sells and will always sell. And do talk about the positioning of the objects. Interestingly, where James Bond's watch was horizontal, this one's vertical. And actually, look at the size difference. Bond was much bigger than the object. Here we've got the reverse. The watch is much bigger than the object, than the female.
Oh, it's the same time.
And you could, you know, look into that. There's something I read somewhere that said that a lot of perfume bottles and things are on the bottom right-hand corner of the ad. And it's because the celebrity or the body, the person, captures your interest, but it's that whole you end up down there. See, it's here as well. It's on the right-hand side here.
It's like a genie and coming out of the lamp.
Yeah. So, and that's 10 past 10 on our watch.
I just looked up why that is. It just says that both hands are visible and appreciated. Like it's just a very
And symmetrical.
yeah.
If you wanted to, you can have a bit of fun with it and say, well, if you assume it's night time, it's not early, it's not late, there's still time to play, you know, like that sort of thing.
10 out of 10 being perfect.
Wow!
And also, 10 o'clock is never a bad time for anything.
No.
I mean, if you think about it, because it's not too late or too early to wake up. It's when the pub opens, and in the evening, it's not too late or too early to go to bed or to go out.
And the conservative people won't be horrified.
To watch Netflix.
Yeah, so it's,
Anything could happen at 10 o'clock, AM or PM.
that's true.
Tea time
Yeah.
or brunch.
And interestingly, that wasn't deliberate. But we've got a slightly different approach here. We've got a similar thing, haven't we? Fist, clenched fist. We can talk about the body language. She's ignoring you. She's not staring at you. She's not inviting you in to adopt that persona. Quite different in terms of their connection with you. She's saying, I don't need you, you are irrelevant to me, I'm so strong, I'm so tough. I've got this. So think about the gaze. Do some research about the gaze so you can talk about it if you have people in your ad that you're deconstructing. So in all of these, you can talk about the way audiences are being positioned. You're talking about the objects, the colour, the position. Look at this. What are you made of? That's why she's looking away. What are you made of? You're made of stuff like this. She's independent. And beautiful. Blonde. Stereotypical. When you talk about, you know, the use of stereotypical features, blondes have more fun, those sorts of things. Singlet. The watch is a weapon, you know, it can be used for power. That would appeal to a woman who wants to command her environment, you know, to command or control a meeting. What are you made of? There's a challenge. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not a lot of words.
Where do you find all of these ads?
I typed in, I know there are a lot of really good deodorant ads for men. There are lots of really good beer ads for men. With
Can we do
men in
beer
it.
ads for year 9?
Yeah.
What about whiskey?
I don't see, your
They
school
would
is
see
going to
them.
make, your school will determine that. The reality is they're out there, and you certainly can for this assignment.
I've done smoking.
Yeah. I mean, really, you want students to be engaging with real life, and they are real life, but your school might have very strict rules around that. But for this, you can just go to town. There are some horrific ads out there that just make my skin crawl. Some ads are so bad, students cannot analyse them because they are just, they're pornography, basically. Or they are so degrading to women. There's a classic brand, the positions that women are in and the men and the scantily clad clothing.
I just looked up perfume ads 2018 and like it's literally just women holding a sheet over themselves
Oh, it must be the thing.
and then push her up against the wall.
It's just classic, and we want our students to know and understand that. And that links into consequential validity. Why have you chosen what you've chosen for your task? What are you asking them to focus on? Are you getting them to think about representations of women because you want to empower women and you want them to be very critical thinkers? Are you, yep.
Is it okay to narrow it down to a theme like that? Like to talk about representations of gender? Or
Absolutely.
representations of motherhood versus fatherhood? Things like that?
Absolutely, yeah. Just make it so that they can sink their teeth into it and that they can write a simple thesis statement. That's a really good test actually. So once you've written your task statement, see if you can come up with a thesis statement for 2 ads that bind those ads together. Both ads represent women as this, or one ad represents women as this and the other represents it as this. So see if you can bind them in a way that you can argue in a logical, sequential manner. But yes, you might want to give students a choice. Representations of gender, representations of aged, you know, the elderly, youth. It might be
Or family, for example?
family, yeah. Anything really that you think is important in terms of that consequential validity, you know, the consequence of doing the task, what is it? Is it going to enrich students' lives in some way? Is it going to make a difference to the way they respond to stimulus?
Just a question. I know it says television app, but can it just be a digital media app? So
Yes, anything that's got rolling images, yeah. So music, sound effects, and that's where your screenshots are going to be important.
Yeah.
And I'm going to trust you with
Oh, I
yours.
think she means like for the print ad, like.
Oh, for the print ad?
Like I said in mine that they could use a still image.
Yeah,
so
still
it could
image.
be online because a lot of like still images like
Oh,
on Facebook and
absolutely.
stuff now. So
True.
not just like in magazines.
Yeah, yeah, actually, I need to be very mindful of that. Yeah, I just mean one of something like that.
Yeah.
Wherever it appears is
Yeah.
fine.
We do screenshots of the video though.
Yeah, do screenshots of those bits that you're going to